everyone, and thanks for joining me today. I have a little roundup, just a small collection of some drugstore things that have just been awesome finds here lately, and I wanted to tell you about them. I am going to apply them as I go, and I'm first going to just take a sip of coffee because yesterday was wow. As you may have heard in a past video, I'm helping coach my girls' cheerleading squads, and yesterday was day one of choreography for Biddy's team, and we only went half the day. Like, they were able to accomplish the full day's task in like half the time, which was awesome. And there were other coaches helping as well, and I think that really like sped things along for the whole process. But still, like, for half the day like that, I don't know, I'm sore and I'm tired and I'm mentally still kind of exhausted from it. And it was so funny because the moment we pulled out of the house, you know what song was playing on the radio? It's all coming back, it's all coming back to me now. Sorry, that wasn't good. I haven't gone through my vocal warm-up today. It's just like going back to a different world, you know? And also a world you've kind of never been in, because I've never like coached or dealt with or really led kids in any way that are that young, you know. Anyways, let's get to the makeup. I've done my skincare. I've done my primer. My primer today is my Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup from Maybelline. I love that. And then over the top of that, I used my Dermablend CC cream with the SPF 50. This is actually a beautiful product, and I think it's looking awesome right now. And that brings me to my next thing, which is a Dollar Tree find that I really wanted to tell you guys about. The brand is called Sassy and Chic. Okay, that's the same brand that does the makeup sponge I love so much. The full-size sponge. They come in pink and black, and it's shaped like this, and it has that wonderful amount of surface area on the bottom. Yes, I bought a backup. It's great. And now they have these minis, and we're talking just for $1.25. Everything at Dollar Tree is $1.25, and there's 3 different shapes in here. We have a standard like beauty blender shape, we have a mini like Real Techniques sponge shape, and here's one fully saturated, and it's kind of got a little bit of that hourglass shape and also the point. And these are so good. Every time I rediscover a mini sponge, I'm like, yes, these are awesome, because they hit those little areas and they're so gentle. And then also another side benefit is if you later in the day are touching up your makeup and you have one of these sitting around that's just a little bit damp still, you can go over your under eye just really gently, and it's an awesome refresh without anything added, just going over it with that dampened sponge. But today we're going to do some concealer corrector with it. I'm going to grab my e.l.f. putty corrector. I'm going to try blending in some of this with that little sponge, see how that goes, and then maybe we'll work in some concealer on top so we can demonstrate yet another texture of product. But if you want the full lowdown on this stuff, definitely check out my recent e.l.f. video, the putty time video. Okay, it's doing well with that. Just kind of stamping it in, and it's so gentle is really the word that comes to mind. Gentle and easy, and it reaches those areas better than any full-size beauty blender sponge. And just the price, you know, to track those down for $1.25, I think, why not try it? Okay, we've got our brightening. Then I'm going to take my NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop in the shade Vanilla, and I'm going to apply like a couple of little dots here. I feel like when I use the corrector, I can go on and use less concealer, but I still need some around the nose. Yeah, look how we can just press and dab. If you want a little more surface area, use the butt end of this shape, and it kind of goes over a larger area. I just love that they're expanding what they're offering in terms of tools, brushes, sponges, etc., because they're really nice quality. You might think, well, if I get those, are they just going to be too firm? Because we've all tried cheap sponges that just are not doing the job. But no, these are really good. I remember when Swispers at Walmart, you know, the brand that makes like the cotton pads and stuff, they did a little set of mini sponges once upon a time, and they were really good, and these are just like those. Also just like the Beauty Blender Mini, you know, but you have 3 different shapes. Okay, all blended, and I think it looks really good. I'm so happy. So I just set everything. I used my Laura Mercier Ultra Blur Loose Powder on the under eye, and then I went over the rest of the face with my CoverGirl Outlast Extreme Wear Pressed Powder. And now another thing that I believe did come up in a recent video as I was getting ready, but it's grown on me. I've really enjoyed it, actually. It's my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer Contour Palette. I know I've criticized the window. It's not solid plastic. It's like flexible, and that could be better. But the textures of the powders are really, really good, nice and soft, and I'm loving the tones that I have here. I've got this nice rich shade, which is just perfect for contouring. This shade, I've even experimented with some nose contouring. Yes, I never do that, but that actually kind of works like that. And then you've got this nice matte color too that can kind of provide added contrast, brightness. And if you're looking for a quick eye look, they're so pigmented, they really double as eyeshadow as well. So I'm gonna apply some of this stuff today, and really, you don't need to scrub a brush in at all. This is my BK Beauty 107, and I just kind of rock it back and forth in that deepest shade. And we're just gonna take it around the hairline. And there's something about the softness and smoothness of these bronzers. I know a lot of people are familiar with the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzers, but you can get like a decent amount on your brush, and it's just able to blend away into the skin with ease. I love that. Contouring the cheekbones. Really good tone. And it comes in a whole deeper option as well. See how effective that is? Like, I think it's really nice, and it keeps the skin like overall just looking very even and flawless. And then you guys, from e.l.f., this nose contour brush, okay, it has a side that's very blunt cut. Like, you can see it's angled, but the bristles themselves are just chunk cut like that. And then there's a tapered angled side for like softer blending, I think. And I just kind of took that softer side the other day into the lighter shade, and I just went down the nose really lightly. And I rarely do this because I feel like anytime I attempt it, there's a little bumpy, like little bone there that just isn't done any favors when I do nose contouring. But I'm kind of like going on the side and then pulling it down ever so slightly. Like, we're talking really light and subtle nose contour. I'm using that cool, really light shade. I guess I've just never had any real beef with my nose, you know, like, oh, I need to change my nose up a lot. Like, the nose has been okay. But like, I use that and then take this vanilla kind of color and just sweep it right down, and then kind of use it to go up the side for brightness. Yeah, it could be under eye setting powder. I'd use it pretty lightly because, again, the powder's so soft, so much goes off on your brush or applicator. Subtle, gentle nose contour. And then we're also going to use this on the eyes in a minute. Over the weekend, I was playing around, and I did use this more like stark angled side for some cream contour on the nose. And I can't fault the brush. The brush did an awesome job. It was just like more than necessary is the way I came away feeling after I did that. So I'm going to pop on a little blush here. I've had this one on hand a little bit longer. This is the Sophie blush by Ioni. You want to find Ioni in your Dollar Tree. Get the lash glue. Okay, the pink cap lash glue. It's terrific. It's about as gentle as they come, but it really, really holds, and I love it. I like it better than a Skeeto. Anytime I'm in Dollar Tree, I pick up like 2 of those. They've got a lot of lashes too, but they've also got some blushes, and I saw highlighters and some bronzers as well last time. So I found the blush first, and this is in the shade Sophie. It's called Glam Rose, like they each have a little person on them, and it's this really pigmented blush. This is reminding me, actually, oh my gosh, I need to do a quick swatch comparison with the L'Oreal, the brand new L'Oreal blush in Confident Pink. But this is a matte blush with a lot of pretty pop. You don't need a lot of it on your brush. But this brand is just slaying it, you know? They're doing some beautiful things, and I have a highlighter that's really new to me that I got when I got those sponges, and it's so pretty. What brought me to Dollar Tree most recently, I saw a friend on Facebook. She took her kids there. They were having a movie night, and she took her kids and let them each pick out 3 movie snacks, whatever they wanted. And I thought, oh, that's so much fun. My kids would love that. And just kind of makes more of a thing of your in-home movie night. So we went and did that, and of course, Mommy found 3 makeup things she needed. But okay, there's the blush. Let's check it out. I just feel like we're on to something here. Again, everything at Dollar Tree is $1.25. There's Sophie or Glam Rose. Oh my goodness. These are looking real close. Okay, not exact dupes. Intensity-wise, I would say, yeah, but the Sophie shade, the shade on this finger, is a little bit cooler. You see that? A little bit more of a cool pink. There's more warmth in Confident Pink from L'Oreal, but intensity-wise, on the cheeks, they have a lot in common, I feel. Like they go on in a real similar way. I'm treating my brush and my process of dipping in like the same for both. So that's cool. But the highlighter I found is so good. It's called Emma. Look, you got another different little girl here. It's the Brighten and Bronze Glow Up. They also had like a really glowy looking bronzer that I didn't think I'd probably love so much, but this icy little highlight here, this I'm very pleased with. If you like a little glaze, it's not so barely there like a Laura Geller French Vanilla kind of nearly matte type. It's not giving that vibe. It's more of just a gentle glaze. You can see it, but there's no big flecks, no big obvious particle. It doesn't show up like heavy looking makeup, and you just give a little buff over it and it's so one with the skin. I think it's dynamite. I love this. So you just pop it on. Love that Real Techniques setting brush, and then I kind of dust off the brush, make sure all product is removed, and just buff right over it. And then it's truly like locked in there. Get a little up here. I'm just so impressed. Like it's $1.25, my loves. And I've done other Dollar Tree videos fairly recently if you want to look back and see what you may have missed, but this is quite a find, I think. This and the blush. I'm going to do my brows, and then we're going to show you that quick eye look with the Physicians Formula. Brows are done. Milani Eyeshadow Primer is on, and I've got my little trio again. And I'm going to gently go into the medium shade, and I'm just using my Profusion crease brush. And if you're just one who likes to double things up, you know, this gives you even more than just one bronzer would. I know a lot of people are just like, I just throw some bronzer in the crease and I'm done with the eyes, and that's fine. But the way these are so pigmented, that's kind of what I'm stressing here. These are very pigmented, so they perform just a lot like you would expect an eyeshadow to, really. So a little bit of my lightest bronzer, and then we can go into this one and just build it up as much as you please. And yeah, like it's a smooth matte basic eye, but sometimes that's just what you want. Very classic. That bronzer shade just builds so much. I love it. And then you can take a blending brush, just go over your edge. It will blend into the skin seamlessly. You can take your light shade and just go over that. That has actually a little bit of coverage in it, so that works really nicely. And then another favorite thing, I ran into this brush, this e.l.f. Precise blending brush. This brush is constructed in kind of an unusual way. The way the ferrule is right at the top, it's triangular. I mean, it doesn't really seem to affect the workings of the brush too much. It just is kind of like a fine crease brush. But I thought that was interesting how it's not just circular there, it's more triangular. And I think that causes it to be just a little more fluffy than, say, my Profusion small pointed brush. There's the comparison. A little more fluff than that, but kind of can work in the same capacity. So like if I want to go into that deeper shade, if I want something that's going to target my outer corner a little bit more than a full crease brush or blending brush would, that really does it, you know? Just going into my darkest shade and working it in that way. I like it. Another brush I would compare this to is like my Wispy White, my Sigma E36, and that's often something that I use out on the edge of my look, kind of above the crease if I'm wanting a real veil of some sort of shade up there. And this kind of can perform like that, but it's a bit more dense, okay? It's not exactly like Profusion Small Pointed, it's not exactly like Sigma E36, but it can kind of do both of their jobs a little bit. So I thought I would point that out. It's called the e.l.f. Precise Blending. So now as I move on with this, I'm just gonna, oh gosh, scared me. Kitten coming in. I'm gonna take just a small flat brush here and get a little bit of my deepest matte shade. It's just gonna show up real subtle here on the outside, and then take my cream and pull that right in here for a little brightness. One thing Small Pointed does that this one is a little big for is going on the under eye softly. This is just a little more full than I would want down in there. So I'll take my Profusion Small Pointed with a little bit of my deepest bronzer shade and just get a little light definition right here. I don't know that anybody really needed a tutorial on how to use this on the eyes, but I just wanted to point out that the textures are such that they lend themselves to being eyeshadows really, really well. And you get that nice, soft, everyday look. And then if you're looking everything over and you're like, maybe I went too hard with highlighter. I don't feel like I did today. But if that's ever like the assessment you're making, take a little bit of this light shade and just kind of bop it right over. And it's just softening. It's like a softer Kosas cloud set in terms of texture. It kind of blurs and perfects on the skin, but I could see me going way too far with that if I wasn't really watching like how much I was getting on. Get the minimal amount on the brush. Just popped on CoverGirl Exhibitionist Stretch and Strengthen, and there are two lip things that I want to show you. Number one, this lifter gloss. Look at this darkness here. Okay, this is a very interesting shade. I love exploring shades like this. I didn't even realize this was a thing. I don't know how long it's been around, but the color is called Taffy, and the shade has like a little bit of sheerness to it. If you look up there at the top of the tube, you might get that indication of the fact that this is not a fully opaque formula, and you can kind of tell by the applicator as well. But it's so, so pretty. Let me put it on for you. I love the amount of intensity you get. This is what I wanted out of that CoverGirl, you know, their new, what do they call them, jelly glosses or something. There was a deep shade, and I was wanting it to come off like this. Look how pretty this is. It has that like semi-transparent quality, but just a beautiful amount of color. Oh, it's so pretty. Like berry lovers, don't be scared. It's giving more of like a rich pink thing, but just kind of casual. It's beautiful. I love it so much. And then the other day after I put it on, I just kind of gave it a little blot. And it looks even pretty after some of that is blotted away too. Look at that soft pinkiness. Don't you love it? I love it so much. So many of the other glosses were picked over, and then there were lots of these. I'm like, I'm willing to give it a shot because I could see toward the top. I could see toward the top of my tube, see that little like bubble there, that this was not going to be 100% opaque. There was going to be some kind of little surprise with it, and it was just perfect, the perfect amount of color. Then I received a really neat little Revlon Color Stay PR package. It had a lot of different Color Stay products in it, including a few of these suede ink lipsticks. Now, I have had these before. I had the shade That Girl that I purchased on my own, and I liked it okay. I wouldn't say I was completely floored by these. These can feel a little bit dry on the lips, but still also kind of lightweight too. And with a slightly more intense shade, the staying power can actually be really good. And this color called Want It All, fans of a soft red need to listen up here. I'm gonna try this on. This is the color we're looking at, kind of rosy. And yeah, you're looking at a matte lip color. I would have to say the feel is similar to a Superstay matte ink crayon, but maybe a little more dry. I tried to clean up my edge just a little bit with like the edge of that, but isn't this a gorgeous shade? Look at it. Like, how do you put your finger on that? It's a little rosy. I call it like a soft red. I love any kind of slightly more casual red than a pure red, and I think this is so nice, and plus you can kind of trust it to stay in place. Fading outside the lip line is not going to be a concern here. I think it helps to go into a shade like this having exfoliated lips, so get out your e.l.f. lip exfoliator, maybe have your lips prepping throughout your makeup routine with some sort of balm or moisturizing thing on them, so then when this goes on, it's not going on top of like dry, crusty lips. But for the color, I will make that work. You know, like I love that shade so much. And as I struggled to describe it earlier, you can see it's kind of a hard to put your finger on type of shade, but I love that for any season. Right now it feels like, yeah, I want to do red, but I don't necessarily need the biggest fire engine red. And then going into fall and winter, I could see me using this all the time too. And there's something about the sleek hair, the simple eye, that lip, 2 thumbs up. So friends, that wraps up my little drugstore roundup of things I think you should know about, from the mini sponges to the contour palette, the Ioni stuff from Dollar Tree, a couple of neat little brushes, and those lip products. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.